Okay, so it seems that Ironmouse has recently responded to a ton of haters that have been coming her way over a clip, and it seems to happen quite a bit every single time a clip like this hits kind of the mainstream streaming audience, right? And people tend to get outraged and angry over something pretty, harmless and if anything, pretty wholesome. Essentially, if you didn't know, there's this clip that's been going around over the past couple hours or so from the cyclothon that CDawg has been doing, where essentially he's on this big, like bouncy trampoline kind of thing. It's not really a trampoline. It's like a big, like, I don't know, what did you call it, like a mound that you could like bounce on, which I thought was pretty cool, right? And of course, he's holding the iPad with Ironmouse on it. Obviously, let's just play the clip real quick so you get the context. You could hear her laughing.
Oh, let's go! Let's go!
And yeah, essentially that's the whole of the clip, right? And it is something that is kind of cool because obviously it shows you how far technology has kind of come in the sense of, people can now get on a call like this and essentially, have fun and kind of do things like this even if you can't go outside, which obviously, if you don't know, Ironmouse, of course, has an immune deficiency where essentially she can't go outside as much, and a lot of people struggle with that. So things like these kind of calls and whatever, where essentially he could like have this iPad or whatever, could kind of allow them to see things that maybe they wouldn't usually get to see and get out and be able to do, right? Including obviously the cyclothon and all of that kind of stuff. She watches the streams and kind of talks along with it and all of that kind of stuff, which I think is great. And obviously, the more the technology kind of improves, the better it is for a lot of people that are living like that literally do not have a choice, right? It's not like they have a choice and they can just go outside and do whatever. No, they literally cannot. So things like this, of course, can help. Now, is it the same? No, obviously not. It's not the same as literally going out and doing it, but it's definitely a hell of a lot better than staying inside and not being able to see anything, right? And I think it is 100% a really positive thing. But somehow, obviously, Twitter managed to get angry at this, and it seems like Ironmouse has actually responded to it as well. Now, essentially, yeah, it says CDawg and Ironmouse share a wholesome moment. Obviously, some people are saying, don't they have those rentable robots that people remotely control? Might be a potential upgrade possibility. And obviously, yeah, there is stuff like that, which people have been working on for VTubers. And there has been this whole kind of stigma as well, because a lot of VTubers tend to use virtual things, for example, like, voice calls, sometimes those little robot things that they're talking about whenever it comes to conventions and whatever, and don't actually attend the convention in person. Now, obviously, some VTubers do it because it's their personal preference. Obviously, we've seen a lot of bad things going on at conventions. I don't really blame them for not turning up, I'm going to be real. There's a lot of weirdos. But also, there's some people that literally can't due to health, whether it's they're, unhealthy to travel, or whether it's they've got an immune deficiency, like Ironmouse or whatever, where they literally can't go out, else they will get ill and could possibly be at risk of, much worse, right? So, of course, there's been lots of many different reasons as to why VTubers won't go. And I think a lot of people are trying to, lump it all into one big thing, because some people are saying, why not go outside? Which, of course, could be the case for some VTubers that maybe don't want to go out, and literally just because they don't want to go out. But in the case of people like Ironmouse, and specifically in this case, she, of course, cannot, right? For now, at least. Obviously, maybe things might change in the future, but it's one of those things where they cannot rather than they don't want to. So again, people have been so weird about it, saying half the people in the comments section are genuinely dumb. He's raising for money for her and the IDF, obviously the Immune Deficiency Foundation, not the other one. So there are people besides you that literally cannot leave their homes due to illness. Grow up, enjoy how wholesome Connor is in a world where being hateful is normalized. They say, these comments make me sad for the world. If you think that this is cringe, then you are cringe. She can't leave her house and experience this for herself, or she would get severely sick. At least she gets a moment of happiness and experiences in a world where she wouldn't never get to see herself IRL, which obviously 100%, right? And that's, one of the big, factors for that. People say, can't Ironmouse go outside or something? Which obviously she can't. And I understand some people might not know that or whatever, which I think, maybe that is just a question. I hope that wasn't like a thing. They're saying, I pray those two can get, get that beer soon, man. I say, see, in a world with stuff that seems toxic with streamers like one of those, there's still some good in streaming. People seriously getting mad over this. So a lot of people have been talking about like, oh, you know, why are people getting mad? And obviously there's some quote retweets here. For example, you know, some people saying, I don't care what anyone says, allowing someone to with immunodeficiency disease, meaning she can't go outside without dying to see the world, would even if she even if she's carried around on a tablet is cool as for someone to do. Does it look weird? Probably, but it's not for you, and that's 100% true, right? It's not for the people that are like sat there going, oh, why don't they just go outside? I go outside, so why can't they just do it? You know, obviously it's not made for you, is it? Because you can go outside and you can go to experience these things for yourself, which, you know, some people cannot. Obviously this was one of the tweets that has been kind of blowing up in regards to people, you know, kind of hating on it. People saying, so there's a person at home laughing as if they're jumping on a trampoline and all they're seeing is the front camera of an iPad flipping. VTubers are pathetic. Which again, I just don't like. I'm gonna be real. You must be miserable to make a comment like this, right? I feel like you gotta be extremely miserable. And maybe they don't understand the context or whatever. But again, obviously they say VTubers are pathetic in the sense that like every VTuber does this, which isn't the case. It's like, you know, some of the people that have mainly done this stuff, especially on stream, has been, you know, Ironmouse, because of the fact that obviously she can't go out. So CDawg takes her to places, does stuff with her on the iPad. And of course, that 100% gives her more experiences in the world than, you know, she would ever really, you know, dream of getting, right? Which I think is absolutely amazing. And obviously that's a good thing. So trying to blame it on like all VTubers as well, saying VTubers are pathetic is crazy. And of course, I just don't get this comment at all. Who said, tell me you know nothing about Ironmouse without telling me you know nothing about Ironmouse. She literally has a compromised immune system, dude, like a boy in a bubble level. Say, imagine being so desperate for that you end up talking about ironically a woman for using Avatar to do what our body won't let her do and having fun. So do you know this is the first time I've seen you? I've never watched any of your content before, and this is the kind of vitriolic personality you have, then I can never watch your content. On the internet, every impression can be a first impression, and I'm not impressed. I said she has CVID, so yeah, obviously a lot of people have been trying to inform them, like, hey, by the way, you know, they literally can't go out. This isn't just a case of she doesn't wanna, you know, she can't. She literally can't. And obviously Ironmouse did respond to this, as I said, as he started the video, saying, I normally don't respond to this stuff, but when I see negative posts from people who have no idea what it's like to live life with a PI, there are so many people out there living with primary immune deficiency. So many people who cannot leave their homes or their beds. So many people who struggle to find a normal life, struggle to do the most basic human things. I got lucky enough to have a community that supported me, and they helped me crawl out of a deep hole that I feared I could never get out of. Without them, I would not be here today. I also got lucky to have found such a wonderful friend who isn't afraid to do cringe, silly stuff that may seem weird to some, but to me it means the world. Now I'm finally able to do things I never thought I'd get to do. And obviously, yeah, 100%, right? You know, all of this stuff was a cyclothon, all of this stuff, you know, other collabs and stuff that they've done, you know, walking around, you know, Japan and all that kind of stuff that they've done. You know, it's stuff that maybe she wouldn't have been able to do without the help of Connor and, you know, obviously the iPad and all of that kind of stuff, right? And if I can give one person with my disease or any other debilitating illness out there a bit of hope and a bit of happiness, I am happy. Please know that you're not alone, and somehow you too can find a way to take back your life and live your life your way. Donate plasma if you can, and support the Immune Deficiency Foundation if you can. I don't know if did she get that wrong? Oh, she got it right. Oh, that's their tag. Damn. Said, thank you everyone for being a light in my life. And obviously, yeah, 100%. People have been supporting her as well. Mori Calliope saying, remember, you've got so many friends in your corner, always rooting for you. Giga with the hearts as well. So again, obviously a lot of people have been supporting her, and it is pretty good to see that the majority of the comments on this are people being positive and saying like, why are people getting so mad? Because that should be the response, right? Usually there is a very, very negative response to this stuff going on, especially whenever it reaches like a mainstream audience, as we saw with the stream awards, right? People going after her then with all the Ray stuff. So I'm glad that some people were actually kind of defending her on this, because of course it is pretty crazy. If you said, didn't know my bro is a gymnast, so I'm not going to pay much attention to the comments. This is a happy moment, which, yeah, 100% true. So why is a trampoline a bubble? It holds the mouth, but I know how people are going to react, so don't go to the comments, right? 100% true. And obviously if you get like further down, right, if people are just being like so weird, and again, people get so weird about Ironmouse, it's absolutely crazy. People saying, I'm aware of a situation, but man, this is so weird to me. And of course, it could be weird to you, right? Because you're able to go outside every day and do whatever you want, right? You're able to, you know, if you really wanted to and you had the money to, you could go and do exactly the same thing that CDawg was doing in this random place in Japan. If you had the money and you knew where it was, you could go and do that yourself. Whereas Ironmouse cannot, right? You know, it will affect her heavily in terms of her illness and all that kind of stuff, to the point where she cannot do it, right? And I think that's why, you know, some people that even know about the situation, yes, you could find it weird to you, right? But it's the thing is, it's not meant for you, right? It's not meant for you to experience, because you can go and experience it for yourself. Whereas, you know, some people can't, and this is the next best option, and sometimes it can be just as good, because again, they don't get to experience any of this kind of stuff, right? Saying wholesome, my eyes, they've never seen a man love his digital anime waifu as much as him, as his son. I guess, bro, which again, I mean, people are just being hateful to be hateful, right? Like, I feel really bad for Ironmouse in this situation, but I'm not going to pretend like this isn't weird as hell. And again, people say, ain't she like 40? This kind of weird. I don't think it's weird at all, right? I think it's 100% normal for, you know, someone to kind of experience stuff outside of stuff that they probably wouldn't experience, right? Again, sorry if that's a bit weird. Maybe it does look weird. And even Ironmouse said, like, it's sometimes, you know, without the, sorry, where was it? I also do, yeah, I've also got lucky to have found such a wonderful friend who isn't afraid to do cringe, silly stuff, which obviously, yeah, you know, some people might find it weird, and, you know, sometimes that will happen because they're on an iPad or whatever, sure. But I think at the end of the day, if you're actually getting angry and hateful about this, I think it's pretty cringe. Like, I'm going to be honest, I think you're more cringe than the person, you know, holding an iPad or whatever, right? Because you're getting so mad at something that really doesn't affect you, right? At the end of the day, how much does this really affect you? Someone bouncing on a trampoline with an iPad, right? Let's be real. Like, does this affect you? Does this, like, is your life ruined now? You know, can you not go into work tomorrow because of this? Because, you know, if you are reacting like that, I think it's pretty, you know, I think you're the weird one at the end of the day, right? But yeah, obviously I'm glad to see a lot of people supporting it though. But yeah, obviously Ironmouse felt like she had to respond to some of that, because of course it does get pretty crazy sometimes with a bunch of haters and stuff filling out the post. But yeah, that's essentially all I got for this video. If you guys did enjoy it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go to GameSubs, use my code Kazza, get 10% off. Again, they've got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.